Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Taras Monchauskas. Today is the 28th of February 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's morning session, and of course welcome to this last trading day for February. So we're today in this session, of course, as usual, we're going to have a look at the charts, a few of the instruments. But before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then guys, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on here today is Nikkei. Now looking at this index here, you can see that today Nikkei closed in the negative territory, and looking at this 4-hour chart, you can see that it's still kind of stuck here between these two levels, between the 21,340 on the downside and the 21,605 area on the upside. So in a way, when I was covering Nikkei in my previous videos, I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on these two levels. Basically, if we do see a drop below the 21,340 level, then yep, we could see a further slide lower, but again, the downside could be limited to this upside support line that has been running here from the lows of the 26th of December. So basically, if we do get a nice drop here below the 21,340, then yep, we could potentially expect see this one traveling towards the, like I said, towards a retest of this upside support line. In a way, we could keep an eye on this 20,971 level, but to be honest, we do have the psychological 21,000 around there as well. So this could be that nice area for a potential test. And if we just quickly mark that right here, so the 21,000 is just around here basically. So yeah, that could be a nice, like I said, nice area for a test. But again, before we can consider this scenario, we need to see a nice good break below the 21,340 level. In terms of the upside here, as I mentioned previously, the 21,605 level, that's the one that we're keeping a close eye on. A nice good break above that could open the path towards the 21,875 zone, which was marked here by the highs of the 13th of December. You can see that also played out nicely here as it kind of a temporary pit stop here around in the beginning of December, and on the 5th of December. So yep, that's why guys, this level here, the 21,875, could be that very interesting area to watch out for if we do get a nice pop above the 21,605 zone. So keep your eyes on that one, and let's see how this plays out. And we still have one day to run on this one, so yep, like I said, keep your eyes on these two levels. On the upside is the 21,605, and on the downside is the 21,340 level. Jumping into one commodity, or should I say precious metal, or should I say gold. Basically, gold, yesterday I was talking about this one, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this little formation, this little triangle formation that we were building up here in gold. It was coiling up nicely, and we managed to break it to the downside, managed to test this upside support line where the commodity is kind of currently getting held at. This upside line has been running here from around the 13th of November, so, or even actually the 14th of November to be more precise. So that's why guys, for now, we're going to continue observing it very carefully. You can see that it is kind of balancing around it here. I know you can see my arrow here. This is from yesterday, where I was telling you guys to just keep on monitoring this upside support line. If it continues to hold, we could see a rebound and a push back up again here. Actually, let me just clean up this chart a little bit now. We don't need these anymore. what we're going to look at here right now is, of course, you can see this little line here around the 1321. Now this acted previously as a nice good area of support. Now we're going to keep a close eye on it, as it could play the role of resistance. So basically, if this decides to travel above the 1321 and also travels above the pivot, today's pivot, we could potentially expect this one to maybe go a little bit higher. The only thing is that what you need to keep in mind here is, let me just quickly take my trend line. This is what you need to keep an eye on here, guys. So basically, we do have this now a little, of course, a bit of a tentative one, downside resistance line taken from these recent highs that we saw here in February. And for now, of course, we could see maybe this one traveling a little bit higher, breaking above the 1321, even actually traveling above the pivot. But just for a better confirmation, guys, we would like to see a nice good push above this downside resistance line first, and then we will potentially target the 1333 again, or even higher. But for now, this is where it is. That's in terms of course, the downside, the upside. In terms of the downside here, if we see a drop below the below this upside support line that I was talking about, so this medium term, or should I say more short term downside upside support line, for a better confirmation of downside, we would like to see a nice good drop below the 1316 level, and only then we'll aim for lower areas. Initially, of course, aiming for this 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, which also coincides with the S2 on the same 4-hour chart, of course. But if that fails to withhold, then yep, further declines towards the psychological 1300 could be possible. So but for now, continue observing this. We are somewhat more neutral probably on this one right now. Just going to continue observing the price action, and also keep an eye on these key levels that I was talking about, and of course some of the lines here that also could come into play. Jumping into GBP NZD now, this is this rallied strongly yesterday, and basically looking at this right now, I mean, this is since Monday here. This is where you can see the Fibonacci. I've drawn a Fibonacci here, so Fibonacci retracement. So since Monday, basically, it continued to travel higher and managed to kind of gain around. It managed to gain around the around something like 300 points here, 300 and something, almost 400 points here, guys. So basically, oh sorry, almost 500 points. So basically right now, I mean, it found good resistance yesterday near the 195.15 area, approximately there. This is going to be the one that we're going to be keeping a close eye on for today. Certainly, looking at this picture, of course, we could see maybe a bit of a correction here to the downside, even though yes, we are trading already above the pivot, which is a positive sign for this one, but we could see maybe a bit of a retracement back to the pivot, a retest of that pivot, which also coincides with this 23.6% retracement on the Fibonacci. So that's why, guys, for now, be very cautious. In order, let's say, to consider further upside here, or higher levels, we would like to see a nice good push above yesterday's highs near the 195.15 level. But if this decides to travel lower a little bit, yep, initially we will be targeting this pivot, which is around the 193.80 zone, approximately there. And also, like I said, coincides with 23.6% retracement on the fib. But also don't forget, we do have this little tentative upside support line here, which also, like I said, could kind of provide some additional support to this pair. And if it fails to drive below this, then this could be a good opportunity for the bulls to step in and potentially drive this one higher. So for now, probably the suggestion here is to continue to wait and just keep an eye on some of these key levels. So in terms of the downside, well, if this decides to travel lower and starts breaking the 193.80 level, and of course breaks the upside support line, then yep, we'll target lower areas. But if this decides to push further up here and breaks above the 195.15 level, then yep, well, keep your eyes on the R1 or even actually the R2. So keep your eyes on those levels for today. Jumping into another pair, EURJPY. Now looking at this, yesterday of course it also had a nice push higher, managed to reach, let me just quickly put this level right here, guys. So managed to reach the area around the 126.30 zone. So did have a small overshoot here, but quickly got back below it and remained there. So now of course you can see that it's retracing lower. It's currently balancing around this its pivot. It's today's pivot. Now of course, looking at this chart from the slightly bigger picture, we can see that we do have still this upside support line that has been running from the lows of the 3rd of January, which is still in play. You can see how well it's kind of played out here recently, and only here in around the 15th of February that where we had a false breakthrough in a way, a false breakout here, and then you can see that the pair quickly got back, by the end of the day, quickly got back above this line and kind of continued trading higher. So for now, even though we are seeing a bit of a small move lower here, still, as long as this line remains intact, guys, we are gonna continue kind of aiming higher. And let me just kind of put an arrow here for our future reference. So basically, this is something that we're going to be keeping a close eye on. And if you now understand correctly, so basically a better confirmation of the upside could be this 126.30 level. A nice good break above that could confirm a forthcoming higher high, and we could then target slightly higher levels. For now, we're just going to continue observing this. If this decides to, let's say, from the very short-term perspective, what you could do here is, if this decides to drop below the 125.95 level, then this would also place the pair below the 21 EMA, and that's for today, of course. And this is when you could target the S1, or even, like I said, this upside support line. And then yep, we'll just take it from there. But again, like I said, for today, you could keep a close eye on this 125.95 level. Like I said, a nice good drop below this could potentially place the pair below the 21 EMA as well. And also, just to kind of show you what that level was here in the past, it was the high of the 4th of February, and also was marked near the highs of the 19th of February. So quite an interesting level here, previously acting as support. Now it could be previously acting as resistance. Now it could be support. But again, like I said, it's just for now, just continue observing this. You can see that the pair is trying to push back above this pivot, above today's pivot. So if it remains here, then we could see maybe the bull stepping in earlier and pushing this one back up again. So again, in terms of the upside here, what we're keeping a close eye on is, of course, the this upside support line, and of course this 126.30 level. A nice good push above that could open the path towards slightly higher levels. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on, and that's euro dollar. Now again, yesterday we've managed to test this upside support line from underneath again, and I kept talking about this one. Basically, it is a bit of a tentative one, but I keep talking about this one in every single my video where I'm covering euro dollar, and you can see how well this is playing out right now. For now, of course, don't get me wrong, it's around, this is the area around the 114 level, approximately there. So basically, I'm still gonna continue saying the same thing. In order to kind of get more comfortable with the upside, we would like to see a nice good confirmed push above the 114 level, and only then we'll target slightly higher levels. Don't forget, we do have this little tentative downside resistance line that the pair would need to overcome as well. But again, 114 level, that's the one where we're keeping a close eye on. Right now, we can see that the pair is trading below its pivot. But what you could keep an eye on for today is, of course, keep an eye on this little area around here, around the 113.65. You can see how well this played yesterday, how well this played out nicely yesterday, and today it already tested that level, but kind of failed to drop below this. It also coincides with the 200 EMA, so in a way, if this 113.65 level gets broken, then we could potentially see further declines here towards the S1, which coincides, which is around the 113 153 approximately there, which also coincides with the 100 and the 50 EMAs here on the 4-hour chart. But if this is not enough for the bears, then yep, further declines are possible, and this is where we will aim for the 113.25 level then. But for now, continue observing this. Like I said, this is a very tricky zone, and at the same time a very interesting one, but keep your eyes on the key levels here. On the downside is the 113.65, and on the upside is the 114 level, so keep your eyes on those. Okay guys, I'll have to wrap it up here. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and if you want to join me later on at my trader's tea time, and that's 14:15 GMT time. But for now, I hope you have a wonderful trading day, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.